Hi Capricorn, this is Kay. You're on the Collective Soul Tarot channel. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to your reading. Please like and subscribe and let's get ready. I hope you're doing well, and I'm very happy and excited to be here with you today to work with Archangel Michael to find out what it is that Capricorn need to know today. Thank you. Let's see. What do we got? Change. Well, I don't know about you, but I like change. Even if it doesn't seem good, because I know the change is there, because there's something I need to seriously consider and to revamp, to look at changing, right? To reconsider something. All right, let's find out from Major Arcana more about change. Archangel Michael, thank you. This one? Judgment. Okay, answering the call and you know, tooting your flute. Tooting your flute, having a good time. Because change is on its way. Let's get some clarification for the Judgment. This one right here. Ha! The Ace of Swords. Golly, that's following the truth. That's like a breakthrough. Knowing what needs to be done. That's a call that's being made to you to strike out in what your truth is. Your truth is, because that's the change that you're going to see happen. Something that's going to lead you to, you know, when tarot, it's always like that. It leads you to your better. It gives you advice and guidance on how to live your best life, to become your best person. And we have 29 women. So maybe I'm talking to a woman here, as a Capricorn woman. Or it's somebody, you know, if you're a man, it's a woman in your life. Let's read the woman. It won't say much, it'll just say that it's a querent or whatever. But there's lilac and cherry twilight renditions of this. This is a lilac because it's white. If it was red color 29, it would be the cherry, and the cherry is more of a negative version. Maybe not drastically negative, but it's more of a shadowy version. So let's see, the lilac twilight is the querent for a young woman, romantic, sentimental, delicate, sensitive nature. Talking to somebody who is either a young woman, who is a romanticist, who's sentimental, nostalgic and all that, delicate, kind of delicate flower, delicate sensitivity, you know, sensitive nature, just delicate emotional status, emotional, yeah, somebody who is a bit fragile possibly, and that maybe needs some kind of changing, Capricorn. Not positive. Okay, let's find out more. You know what? I'm going to read the change. Sorry for putting an urge to this. I just want to read it. See what it has to say. Courage. Okay, change. One more. Change. Okay. Sometimes we are curious about change. We poke our nose around it, consider it, think about it, but taking the leap into the unknown is too frightening. Sometimes, no matter how careful we are to avoid it, we fall into it, which can be very scary, especially when we don't know how to land, let alone what landing will feel like. The only thing we can do when we are in a state of change is remember eventually we will stop failing or falling. And when that time comes, because it will, we will need to decide, do we stay in that hole looking up at what was, or do we find the courage to carve a new path? So if you've fallen into a hole, you might just start digging on the wall of the hole to carve a new path, because you're not going to stay in that hole. But I'm getting the sense that this sensitive nature person that you are, you're changing that. And it could have been through some kind of, rough circumstances, challenging time where your emotional sensitivity got the better of you or didn't help you in any way. And in fact, it might have made things worse, right? Having arguments with your sister or brother, your parents, because they say, you're just too sensitive. So I say, right? Or a loved one like your kids or your partner. Maybe at work. Maybe you've got to, maybe you're, let's say, like in the police department. And you might get too sensitively wrapped up in a person's situation, you know, a bad situation, where you really empathize with the victim or the person who is complaining. You really empathize with them to the point where you might make it a little too personal for you and they're with them, and then next thing you know, they might be trying to manipulate you or take advantage of you or the situation, and the next thing you know, you've got your captain on your butt, dragging you into his or her office, and saying, what's going on with you, you know? Or you're trying to be a counselor, mental health counselor, and you are, you're get too emotionally involved in the person's plight, the client that you're seeing, and in such a way that you're not really able to help them. In fact, you're actually maybe you're enabling them, or you may be causing them more emotional pain, and that goes against our what we stand for. Do no harm. Our ethics. Our moral ethics, and licensing ethics. Do no harm. So let's find out from Archangel Michael what he has to say about this. We have the Three of Bricks. Well, I think that's the Three of Pentacles. Okay, I got to get the book out. Pardon me, guys. I got to make sure, because I don't want to be reading these cards wrong. I've done that before. What's this deck called? I don't know what it's called. Wizard of Oz, yeah. This bricks are pentacles. Yes, they are pentacles. Okay. Bricks are pentacles. Three of Pentacles. So, somewhere where you're having to work, collaborate with somebody, people, that could be the problem area. Death, needing that death and major change and transformation, right? Let's keep going. The Hangman, okay, this is what's tripping you up, causing you to, not the death, transformation. And it will. It'll make you feel like you're being hung upside down and having to look at your situation with a different perspective. So you'll be enlightened during this time, because the divine's not going to allow you to move forward in whatever area that seems to be your problem, or if it's like runs in conjunction with another area of your life, that you have to have this figured out and sorted out before you could actually move this area of your life along. Let's see. King of Bricks, King of Pentacles, okay. Seven of Spears, which is the Seven of Swords, yes. Ooh, okay. And the Four of Bricks, which is the Four of Pentacles. Losing out and having to hang on. The Kindred, which is 6, that's like the Lover's card. Okay, so you have a friend indeed. The Sun. And the Kindred is like somebody who you have a deep soul connection with, right? That is really cares about you. The Nine of Pentacles, that's an excellent energy. Independence and doing things well, to be able to live in a lap of luxury. We have the Queen of Brooms, which is Queen of Brooms is Queen of Wands, yes. Okay, Queen of Wands. Boy, she's got a stern look on her face. Can you see that? See that stern look? She's got her lips pursed, and she's got her eyebrows, like this, like in the worry way. Two of Brooms, Two of Wands. The Strength card in the back of the deck. We have the King of Spears, King of Swords, the Emperor, holy cow, and the High Priestess. And that's where we're stopping, right there. Holy cow. Look at that major arcanas, right? Especially, we've got, okay, the major arcanas, we've got death, we have the kindred, we have the sun, we have strength, the Emperor and the High Priestess, and then we have these court cards, right? Court cards of the King of Pentacles, the King of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. So one, pardon me, but I'm just like, wow, look at this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major arcanas. And how many cards we got? 12, 13, 14, 15. So half of the cards are major arcana, and the other third, another third of that is the court cards with the kings and queen. Wow. This is some serious business, guys, Capricorn. Okay, I think what's happening here is that there's a change that needs to be in your emotional, the way you feel, way you relate to people and things. You're very concerned. You're a kind and caring person. You are somebody who is a great confidant. Okay, you are somebody who is that when you make a promise to somebody, you fulfill it, and you rarely ever forget anything that someone asks you to do. You're a hard worker. You're somebody who is just kind of like a sweetheart person, somebody that people, they respect because they're kind and they're gentle, possibly. You might be like a very soft-spoken person or a gentle person, that you are aware of how other people think and feel, and maybe to your detriment at sometimes, because you might be assuming they're thinking and feeling something about you that's not necessarily true. And then it gets you all worked up, worried, and maybe stewing in it, up in your head. 8 of Swords kind of energy, maybe even 9 of Swords, take you to bed at night too. But there is this sensitivity that you have, emotional sensitivity that you have, which is great when people need it from you, because they know that you can be there for them and support them. That at other times it kind of ends up being like a crutch, ends up being an obstacle, something that gets in your way, gets in the way of you being able to create lasting bonds, to even have a true, a truly deeply connected, emotionally connected bond with somebody, which is very funny to say, guys, because if you're emotionally sensitive, you're the type of person who, maybe you've got your emotions on your sleeve, so people know where you're coming from because it's written all over your face. Your emotions your emotions show. People, they don't have to guess. They know what you're thinking and feeling. But at the same time, it's kind of like it could be something that where you've got a wall up because you've been burned too many times through people maybe wanting to manipulate you, take advantage of you and your soft spot, right? Your caring ways, and you may have put a wall up between your heart and the outside world. And it could be something that you have developed as a result of your childhood, where You were already, you were that type of child. Anyways, you were emotionally vulnerable. You were like a sponge. You soaked up things. You soaked up other people's energies. And whenever you might have had a parent who was really quite crass, somebody who was hardcore, somebody who spoke in a very, a very like aggressive way, aggressive voice, tone of voice, aggressive way of saying things. Stop doing that, or if you don't do this right now, you're gonna suffer the 20 lashes or something. Having a parent who kind of trumped all over your emotions without a moment's concern about how that was making you feel. And they might have said things to you that really went to heart to you. Like something like, I never loved you as much as I loved your brother, or something like that, or who knows, anything. I should have never had kids, or this or that, or the other thing. You're just a pain in the butt to me all the time. You're just an anchor on my leg, on my foot. The things that really hurt, and you took it too hard. And whenever you try to create an emotional bond with somebody, it's kind of like as soon as you start connecting with that person and going a little deeper than surface level stuff, talking about things that really are, that pull our emotions out of us. It's a sad situation, a disarming situation, a angry situation, something that pulls our emotions out of us. When we're with somebody else, just their problems pull those emotions out of us. Their problems. We start feeling sorry for them. They empathize for them. You feel for them. I feel you, or I feel for you, to the point where you start feeling like you're out of control now. You have to the wall goes up now. Suddenly, you just become detached, emotionally detached, and it's causing your life some problems. So this emotional disconnection is a way to protect yourself, to protect your heart, your gentle, soft, caring heart. It's just a coping mechanism that you have developed, that when you're able to connect with somebody, it's either you overly connect with them to the point where it causes a problem, or you start that connection, but then you put the brakes on, which then causes problems. Okay? Especially if you're in a type of career, a work-related role where you've got to be able to either suppress your emotions or to allow them to make a connection with somebody. But a healthy connection, not to the point where we're over-connected with somebody. I hope this makes sense. But in any case, it's like working together with people. Collaboration has got see this guy's got little devil horns in his hair. These guys don't. So it's kind of like it turns into a toxic connection. One way or the other, it turns into a toxic connection where either you're over-involved emotionally, or you have, like if you're in a romantic relationship, for example, and you're making this connection with this person on your dates, and they want to talk about something. Maybe they want to talk about how they feel about you. And you go, yeah, would you like some popcorn? Something like that, right? Hey, how about some popcorn? And they're going, what? Wait, I just finished telling you how I feel towards you, and I thought maybe we could talk about that. Oh no, yeah, sure, we could talk about that, but let's have some popcorn first. because then that gives you time, hoping that they're going to forget about it or that something else can crop up and kind of put that whole emotional bonding thing to rest between the two of you for another night. Just an example, right? So it's causing problems in your life, either over or blocking. You're either over or blocking your emotional sensitivity, your emotional heart, your sensitive heart, your ability to make an emotional connection, a bond with somebody that's true and lasting. It's one thing to bond with somebody like a stranger where you can complain about the same thing. You happen to be sitting on the bus sitting side by side, and you're going to be there for the next 30 minutes, and you start talking to the person beside you, and it sounds like they got things going on that you got going on, and you start complaining about this, talking about that, and you're feeling like you're making like a soulmate connection with this person. But hey, it's easy enough to do, because probably you're not going to ever see that person again. So you're safe, right? You're safe. You can make that kind of connection because it's only for a short period of time, and you're not likely going to see them again, so it's safe to do that with them. But if it's going to be with somebody that you could have potentially in your life, if you got to see them at work all the time, or if you got a romantic interest in them, it could be a long enduring thing that you're going to be either overly, and they're going to go, grow up, woman, or I don't know, with man. What would you say about a man? Get control of yourself, man. Either they're saying that because you're overly connected, whether you're a man or a woman, Capricorn, watching this, or if you put the block up, the wall up, you got your people saying, "Where are you? What? You don't seem to be in touch with your emotions. Where do you go every time I start to talk about something like way I feel about something or about you or whatever? Where do you go? It seems like you're there, but then the next minute you're laughing on some other tangent, or you literally just walk out of the room. That kind of thing. So it's a problem with you when you're with people, for people. It's for you to be with people or around people, it can become a nuisance, a problem for you that you need to put the end to. The divine is telling you right now, they're coming in and they're going to make your life a little bit difficult if it needs to be, in order for you to be able to find that emotional balance, make that change the way you are coping with or reacting to when you're around people, when you have to engage with others. Because it's not really an issue with you if you're just by yourself. Whether you block your own emotions or you overly be emotive with yourself, what does that really matter, right? It depends on how you cope with it, whether you're going to, drink yourself silly or whatever. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about you engaging with others, working with others, relating in a relationship with others. That the divine is coming in, and it's going to have you have to take a hard deep look into why. And the why might simply be because you were trumped on. Your heart was trumped on when you were a child too many times. And to the point where you had to start protecting yourself. And that was your coping mechanism, your defense mechanisms, okay? And so if this is something that relates to you, Capricorn, that's something that you could be looking at. You may actually be doing that right now. You may actually be answering the call to seeing the truth about what the problem is with your sensitive nature, okay? You may actually be answering the call. So it's wrong for me to say that this is something that is going to happen to you. It could be that you're actually working through this right now, and kudos to you. That's great. And keep on going. But you've been stuck, feeling stuck, not being able to progress in certain ways, like a relationship, a romantic relationship, or even at work. Maybe with work, if you're like the policeman, right? The policewoman, policeman, you over-empathize with the victims, or even the, who knows, the perpetrator, the suspect, guy who did the crime. If you overemphasize with them, it's like, it's not doing anyone any good, and in fact it could be causing you to lose your job, to be reprimanded, lose your job, hand your badge in, that kind of thing. So it's things like the divine is bringing something to an end for you, where you're going to be on your head, standing, hanging from your feet, having to look at your life differently, the way you have been coping with your emotional imbalances, being overly or not enough, not in touch with your emotions or overly in touch with your emotions. And you got to look at that and say, what am I not seeing here? Maybe you need help with that too. But the King of Pentacles is somebody here that, look at him. He's coming to you, I think, it looks like a brick maybe. But he's giving it to Dorothy. She's sick, she's not well. You could see yourself as Dorothy and somebody who can help you. And if that's like someone who is well versed in being able to help people overcome their coping mechanisms, their dysfunctional coping mechanisms, like a counselor, right? That could be somebody who, when you are looking at having to gain a new perspective on why you have this emotional imbalance going on with you when you collaborate, when you work with or relate to other people, you need to have this transformation, this change. And if you need to ask somebody for help, there is somebody in your life that you are either going to come across, hear about, find in the yellow pages. I know there's really not such a thing, but just go with it. Or someone's going to tell you about, okay, that you're going to seek them out. Because otherwise, you got the 4 bricks and you got the 7 of Swords here. 7 of Swords is like you're trying to he's stealing the swords, okay? He's stealing the swords from you're just trying to be you're trying to be kind of in the neutral position, okay? You're trying to be in the neutral position, which is what this guy's doing. He's stealing the swords so that it puts the idea of being able to fight each other, like this army fighting that army. If the swords are gone, they're gonna have to fist fight, but that's probably not going to be something they would consider. If that's what the meaning of the card is as well, not just that you're being deceptive and deceiving. If that's that's not the situation here. This is somebody trying to prevent having the kind of emotional responses from other people, or your own emotional responses to things that is going to end up taking from your life in some way. That ends up taking from your life. You're trying to prevent it by being in the neutral zone. In the neutral zone. The neutral zone is good if you don't need to. What am I saying? The neutral zone is good if you don't need to be in it. No, outside of it. If you don't need to be outside of the neutral zone, if you don't need to be in one camp or the other, the neutral zone is good. So that is altruistic. That's a good plan, to be neutral when you don't need to connect with somebody else. Like, for example, it's good to be emotionally neutral when you see something happen, like someone cuts you off in traffic, right? And you know how ticked off we get about stuff like that because you can't get around them, and I'm going to be late for work, or this guy's driving 20 miles an hour and the speed limit's 60. We just get so irritated, aggravated, right? Well, it doesn't do you any good. It gets you all worked up and you're feeling really angry. You might have road rage if you don't get it under control, and you might do something really impulsive or stupid. It's best to have your emotions under control. That's neutral. You don't feel about it one way or the other. You're not feeling like, oh, this is really great, I'm happy, happy, happy. You're not feeling like, oh, I could just kill this person, you know. You're not feeling one way or the other. And then that way you're just kind of like going with the flow and allowing yourself to follow this guy or the girl however long you have to, because you're not going to get around them anyway. And you're like saying, it doesn't make me real happy, but I'm not going to be upset about it, because what good is it going to do me anyway? That's neutral zone. Okay? So that times that you don't have to be one camp or the other, it's good to be neutral. Okay, so this is you trying to prevent by being in the neutral zone. But the people you're working with and relating to, you need to create bonds with them. But they have to be healthy bonds. Like healthy boundaries. You have to have healthy boundaries. You have to have healthy bonds with people. People who are not going to take advantage of your emotion, your sensitivity. People, your ability to connect with them and be vulnerable and to relate to them, right? That you need to have relationships, like healthy connections with people you know that aren't going to take advantage of you in that way. So then you don't have to put the wall up. And you need to be around people. Choose your friends, choose your coworkers or whatever as best you can. Choose your relationships as best you can, where the people that you're going to be spending enough time with, where if you get to start being a little bit overly emotional about something, they're not going to say, you know, grow up, or you're such a child, you know, just to say mean things to you. You're not going to have people that are going to treat you like that with total disrespect and very non-compassionate and caring towards you. All right, so it's best to find an emotional stability, to be emotionally intelligent, to find a stable place where you can be either or when the time comes, but you're not going to be over or not enough. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So the 4 bricks is that you are, you know, you might be holding yourself back at times, because if you're trying to prevent, right, being in the neutral zone when you're working with other people, then you might actually be holding yourself back from being able to make those really beautiful, lifelong, deep soul connections, bonds with someone, whether it's a relationship person or other people, just other people in your life that you're including in your life. The kindred card here, which is aka the lovers, but it's a little slightly different because it's the Wizard of Oz. But and the happiness and the enlightenment and the balance that you'll feel, the you know, just feeling that things have lightened up for you. Things are so much more deep and meaningful, and I'm feeling really good, happy. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling settled. I'm also feeling that I have. My vulnerability is not something that goes against me. It actually helps me make connections. To be able to be a little vulnerable where people can see you, truly see you, but to the point where you don't lose your control over it. 9 of bricks. See, Dorothy's going, phew, I've had a really long journey, and I've learned so much about myself, about this, that, and the other thing, and you know, I feel like I could probably go home now, right? You're just feeling good. You're just happy, in a good place, content, you know, content. But somebody who is like you could like, you're going to take the broom and ride. You're going to take the broom and ride. You're not somebody who's going to sit back any longer and put those blocks up, or try to regroup your emotions that you put too much out, like doing the backtracking a bit, trying to gain some kind of composure because you gave too much of yourself, and now you're feeling like you're being disrespected, and you're blaming yourself, and you're feeling terrible. Okay? You're not going to be in that energy anymore. You're in the energy on taking charge, taking control. That's the Emperor You're the Queen of Wands energy, the Emperor energy. You're taking charge, taking control. You're saying, I'm going forward. I don't care what anyone says. I'm always up for a challenge. So if I need to make a connection with somebody, I have learned how to be more in tune with and balanced with my own emotions, that I don't have to worry about being a little vulnerable, showing my emotions on my sleeve for somebody who really deserves to be my friend, my confidant, my co-worker, my lover. You're just going to be that type of person who is going to be seen as somebody who is quite confident, quite in control. You've got your act together, and you still have desires, right? And motivation to do this, that, and the other thing, and to follow your goals or whatever, but you've got it under control, because that's what the Queen of Wands does. She's in control of her desires. She's not somebody that just impulsively rides off into the sunset and leaves a trail of fire behind her. She doesn't do that. She's a thinker about it. She considers it, but she knows that any challenge or obstacle that comes up, she's not only going to do it, she's not going to stray from it or hide from it with the wall. She's actually going to tackle it, but she's going to tackle it in the most appropriate manner, because her desire to conquer obstacles and challenges come from having integrated her whole quality of keeping her desire under control. It's not one way, too much one way, or not enough the other way, whatever. Okay, so she's in balance. That's why she's queen. The Two of Brooms, yeah, you've always, you're standing at crossroads at times, and you're thinking, okay, I'm getting to know somebody. I've met this new person, or I'm feeling, maybe you're going to slip backwards, and you will, when you're trying to create a new way of coping and coping mechanisms that are healthy coping mechanisms, a new habit, a new way of approaching relationships with other people. Because you've started to learn the why about it, why you are too little or too much. You're going to be sitting at a crossroads at times and saying, this person, I'm not too sure about them. I think that they're going to be a little bit of an arsehole, with me, and I'm going to want to put my wall up, and I'm not going to have anything to do with them. The problem is, there's somebody, it's a new co-worker, and you're going to be working side by side with them for who knows how long, right? So there could be a problem. So it's about tapping into the other choice that you have, the other path that you have, of saying, I'm going to dig into what I've come to learn about myself, that I don't have to be over-empathizing, overindulged or over-engaged in somebody else's complaints and concerns and worries. Because when people work side by side, they start running out of things to talk about that are positives, and the next thing you know, we're talking about, my boyfriend or my wife or my girlfriend, she thinks I should blah blah blah. Next thing you know, you're having to empathize with them because they're going through a tough time, and you're like, if I start connecting with them at that level where I empathize with them and they want to hear to find out that I got problems too, then we're just two people complaining, right? And is that how I want to have a relationship with these people? Well, if you think it's going to work for you, by all means, go for it. But if you think it's going to become a problem, then you've got to find a way to pull yourself back a bit. Or if you're in that with the wall thing, your coworker's going to complain to your boss or your supervisor about you because they're not feeling like they can make a connection with you in order to have that working relationship with you side by side. And they're going to feel like you're just some kind of robot or computer as opposed to a real human being. Because whenever they start talking about anything that should draw a little bit of emotion out of you, you just clam up and you just focus on your work, or you leave the room, And they're gonna feel like, holy shit, I am strapped with this person who is like as cold as an ice cube, to work beside every day, day in, day out. So understandably, right? So that's it. You dig it into your inner strength to find out what it is that you need to know as to why you have the wall or the overindulgence when it comes to your emotions, your coping mechanisms, and to draw on them whenever it is that you start having to think about what you got to do with this person that you're trying to have a relation with, not necessarily a relationship with, but relating to them. That is drawing on your truth. Maybe you need to be black and white with this person. Black and white would be, there's no emotions in it, but you may actually have to speak your truth to the person or anyone and say, hey, I've got this issue, okay? When people start talking about their problems, I start feeling as though I have to share. And I really don't even want to talk about my problems, if that's okay with you. I would really like, if you got problems to talk about, that's fine. I'm here. I'll listen to you. But if I have to, in order for you to be okay with me, I have to start sharing my problems with you. I'm sorry, I can't go there with you. I just need you to know that. I hope you're going to be okay with it. Being upright, honest with them, straightforward, no emotional tone to it or anything like that. And it might be that, hey, I've got this issue of blocking people out of my life when they start talking about things that they want to get into a deeper emotional meaning into something. I have this thing about being too vulnerable, and I just kind of put up a wall. And it's nothing to do with you. It's not in any way, shape, or form me trying to ignore you or block you in any way. It's not that at all. It's just me. It's just me. I'm learning. I'm trying to learn how to be more emotionally available. And I just need you to know that and to try not to judge me for it. All right? So you're just going to speak your truth to the people that it matters to you, that they know that you're going through a challenge. And that's you, taking charge and taking control of your situation, your relations with other people, by letting them know, being a little bit open, vulnerable with them right from the beginning, telling them that you have this propensity to be this way or that way, and that you're working really hard on trying to find a middle ground. Not the neutral ground, but the middle ground, the healthy coping way. And that is you being able to, you're tapping into the higher realms where you haven't necessarily been able to tap into because you haven't been emotionally connected. You see, because if you're overly emotional or not enough emotion, that's not a connection to the higher realms, to your true self, to your spirit guides and guardian angels. So whatever's been hidden from you, you will now gain access to that through this deepening of you becoming friends with your emotions. When you, let's just say it this way, if you're overly attentive towards your emotions, or overly attentive towards somebody, overly attentive to them, you're not going to know for sure that they really like you for who you are, or that they just like that you're focusing on them all the time, if you're not enough attentive to somebody, because you've got that block, that wall where you cut yourself off from not making yourself vulnerable in any way. Then you still aren't going to know if you can trust this person or have a lasting relationship or friendship with them. So it's something that's going to be hidden from you. That whole kindred type of having deep, meaningful relationships that are lasting and enduring is hidden from you, because your emotions, you hide them, you suppress them, or you put them out too much. You spend them, they're gone. You hide them, you've suppressed them. So out of sight, out of mind. Okay? So it's neither good to spend them, like overly spending your money. It's gone. It's gone, right? Same with your emotions. Suppressing your emotions with the wall is putting them down where apparently we think we don't have to deal with them because we can't see them. But of course, that's not true. But that's another day. But anyways, this is what I got for you guys. So it's just a matter of you being able to make the decision. If you are now, kudos to you, trying to find the change where you can transform your life, transform those important connections you have with people. Because either you're blocking people from your emotions, not being emotionally available enough, or too much emotionally available, and you're maybe chasing people away. Because, they're not going to respect you anyways, right? I hope that was helpful. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.